Grace and peace multiply to everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day. Uh, just want to touch on some things and reiterate what I was talking about before, but go into a little more detail because we are God's people and we have the answers. You know, the scriptures tell you that. But unless you study, if you don't study to show yourself approved, you won't have the answers. So, God's chosen people as told by the scriptures. Now, we'll go to the New Testament, show you something about Jesus. And let's start with the book of Matthew. Okay, Matthew chapter 2. This is when after Jesus was born, and the Edomite king, which is a descendant of Esau, who has a perpetual hatred for his brother Jacob, and we know that Jacob's name was later changed to Israel, and his descendants were the 12 tribes of Israel. I'm going to read Matthew chapter 2, verse 13. No, verse 12. This is Joseph and Mary. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. No, this is the wise men. And when you read further, it won't tell you how many wise men, you know. But that's another story. Anyway, verse 13, and when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise and take the young child. That's a clue, because Herod died after Jesus was born, but before he died, he sent out an edict to kill all the male babies or male children, because he didn't want this Messiah, this this king of Israel, to take his spot, because Herod was a fanatic. He was crazy, and to show you how crazy he was, he sent the people to kill all the male children in the land. That's why the scriptures tell you that Jesus was a man of his own generation, just like Moses was, because all the male children died in his generation. And that just goes to show you the wickedness of the world. But he said, and take the young child and his mother, not baby, because he was already born and some time it went past, and flee into Egypt. Now, why would you see all these pictures of Jesus, so-called pictures of Jesus? He got a white face, blonde hair or bronze hair, blue eyes, you know. But the scriptures describe him as having hair like wool, which is like mine, nappy. You know what I'm saying? And his skin was dark like mine. So why would they take him into Egypt to hide him at this time, when at this time Egypt was nothing but a black country? A bunch of Hamites, a bunch of descendants of Ham, Africans. So that just go to show you the misconception that's been perpetuated throughout the years. Scriptures tell you what Jesus looked like. But then people want to say, oh, what color got to do it? It got a lot to do with it. Because you mislead people. People who are of the same seed, you know, they might want to know what Jesus looked like. But it's gonna come a time in the future that people gonna know. But anyway, flee into Egypt and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. See, Herod sent out the edict to kill all the male children. Because the wise men came back to Herod saying, well, they came to Herod saying, where is this king of Israel? But at that time, Herod was supposed to be the king of Israel. And just goes to show you, see, Herod thought he was a Jew. He thought he was a true Jew out of the tribe of Judah, or should I say an Israelite. Matter of fact, there's another guy in history that called Herod a half Jew, and he got upset. You know what I'm saying? That's how puffed up they get in the head. But see, not until the 7th century, Egypt was taken over by Arabs. Now you know nowadays you got Arabs dark as meat and as light as a Gentile, or as white faced or pale faced as a Gentile. But during Jesus' time, it was all black. Now, Jesus was out of the tribe of Judah, right? So if Jesus was dark as me, with hair as nappy as me, why do we have all these pictures of him being white? It's part of the misconception, part of the lies of the world that Gentiles have perpetuated, as well as the descendants of Esau have perpetuated. I'm gonna show you how deep this hatred goes with Esau and Jacob. Now, this is a page from Unger's Bible Dictionary, page 286. Let's talk about Edom, which is another name for Esau. When Nebuchadnezzar besieged Jerusalem, the Edomites joined him and took an active part in the plunder of the city and slaughter of the Jews. The Edomites took an active part of the slaughter of the true Jews, their own brothers. They helped a Babylonian or Chaldean, Nebuchadnezzar, help him destroy Jerusalem and take the people into captivity and slavery. But I'm going to read on. Their cruelty at that time seems to be especially referred to in the 137th of Psalms, so you know you got to read that. It was on account of these acts of cruelty committed upon the Jews in the day of their calamity that the Edomites were so fearfully denounced by the later prophets. Isaiah 34 and Isaiah 63, Jeremiah 49, Lamentations 4, Ezekiel 25, Amos 1, Obadiah verses 8 and 10. On the conquest of Judah, the Edomites, probably in reward for their services during the war, were permitted to settle in southern Palestine and the whole plateau between it and Egypt. But they were about the same time driven out of Edom, which was their homeland, by the Nabateans. The Nabateans were Arab nations. So, you know, way before the 18th century, the Arabs and the Edomites been fighting each other for a long time. It goes way back. For more than 4 centuries, they continued to prosper. But during the warlike rule of the Maccabees, they were again completely subdued. Now, the Maccabees were Israelites. They were completely subdued and even forced to conform to Jewish laws and rights and submit to the government of Jewish prefects. So that means the Edomites learned the law, statutes, and commandments of God, because I can show you in history where The Edomites worship a bunch of paganism, and still do today. But they learned the law, statutes, and commandments of God. Because when Esau and his descendants, they did everything contrary to God. That's one of the reasons why the Lord say, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Because he is totally contrary, just like a lot of us today. Uh, the Edomites were now incorporated with the Jewish nation, and the whole province was often termed by Greek and Roman writers Idumea. See, Idumea is the Greek name for Edom. So now they are incorporated into the Jewish nation or the Hebrew nation. Now everybody calling them, instead of Edomites or Idumeans, they calling them Jews. Okay, I'm gonna read on. Immediately before the siege of Jerusalem by Titus. Now this is way after, this is when Jesus predicted that the temple wasn't gonna stand. This is when Jesus said that the temple was going to be destroyed, and 40 years later it came to pass when the Roman general Titus sacked Jerusalem. Immediately before the siege of Jerusalem by Titus, 20,000 Idumeans were admitted to the holy city. So the Romans let 20,000 of the Edomites into the holy city, into Jerusalem. But and look what they did. Which they filled with robbery and bloodshed. So they killed a bunch of true Jews. They robbed a bunch of true Jews. You can look on the internet and see that they got the utensils for the some of which they done built. They got the utensils for the third temple that they gonna build. They already done built an altar for the third temple. So we got to be watching when they lay that foundation, and things getting so tense, always tense between them and the Arabs. They're gonna call, and they've been trying to do it for years. They're gonna call a man as a peacemaker to come between them. That's another lesson. Anyway, 20,000 Idumeans were admitted to the holy city, which they filled with robbery and bloodshed. From this time, the Edomites, as a separate people from the Jewish people, disappear from the page of history. How can a whole nation of people that another nation of people let into the holy city and kill a bunch of people, how they just disappear like that? Because what happens when you get into captivity and slavery? They change your name. And they was already, it says here, they was already a part of the Jewish nation because of what went down. They was let into the city. They was already pushing into the city. And while you was getting kicked out, they moved in. Just that simple. And stole your stuff, stole your name, you know what I'm saying? And got everybody believing that they are the ones that really worship God. But that's why they're going to build that third temple, because they worship another God. They building that third temple for the abomination and desolation. That's another lesson. Now, got to read Psalm 83. I want to show you. A lot of nations today know who the true people of God are, but they ain't gonna tell you. I'm gonna show you the first. I ain't gonna read all of it. I'm just gonna read the top 2 on the list. That's against you, and you see evidence of it today. Psalm chapter 83, beginning with verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult. The Lord's enemies make a tumult. Don't the scripture say, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated? But who else? And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. They're taking crafty counsel against the Lord's people, the Lord's chosen people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. Wait a minute. Who's hidden? You are. We are. We as a nation of people, we hid because we don't even know who we are. You know, thank God for the remnant, that he has some wise men throughout the ages still teaching this truth, that know who we are. Thank God that some of our people are waking up to the truth today. Because if they don't know at a set time in the near future, it's going to be a sad day. Verse 3 again, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Verse 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Because the Edomites moved in and claimed that they was you. They claimed that they the true people of God. Don't it tell you that in Revelation chapter 2 and 9 and chapter 3 and 9? Those that call themselves Jews and are not. Verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent. Now these two nations, well, these nations, they always fighting each other, but they agree on one thing. And let's see what that is. They are confederate against thee. They always fight each other, but they agree on keeping you hidden from the world as the true people of God. Verse 6, top two on the list, the tabernacles of Edom. Whoa, ain't that the Esau's descendants? Ain't that Idumea? The ones that moved into the land and filled the land with robbery and bloodshed, while you was getting kicked out of your land and taken into captivity and slavery? And who else? And the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes. Those are Arabs. Ishmael is the father of the Arab nation, which we know today as Muslims. See who knows who you are? I'm gonna give you some more proof. Even Ishmael know who you are. Look it up on the internet. And this was broadcast on national TV, but then nobody paid attention. Back in the days, I think it was the 60s or the 70s, or maybe it was around the 40s when the so-called Jews claimed that God gathered them in 1948 when Israel became a state or whatever. But remember 7th century, Egypt was taken over by Arabs, right? Okay. Look it up. You can see it for yourself. It says George Friedman, in his book The End of the Jewish People, pointedly states that the Europeans claiming to be Jews, because we got some Ashkenazi Jews over there too, which are Europeans that conform to Judaism, but you got Edomites over there too, are nothing more than Hebrew-speaking Gentiles, which is true, but they're not speaking the true Hebrew language. They speak in Yiddish, because the original Hebrew language died out. That's another lesson. The late president of Egypt, because he's dead now, the late president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, stated on television, you, talking about the Jews, you will never be able to live here in peace because you left here black but came back white. We cannot accept you. So he told the world they are imposters, but then nobody paid no attention. those that claim to be Jews and are not. Jesus told you, Christ the Messiah told you in the book of Revelation. They claim to be Jews, but they're not. You know what I'm saying? And got the whole world fooled. So, and I'm gonna show you one more example. I'm gonna show you some scripture. I'm gonna show you one curse. Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. Verse 68. Now this is the very last curse of Deuteronomy 28. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Whoa! Egypt to us means bondage, captivity, and slavery. How did we get over here in America? We came over here in ships, in slavery. Nobody else did that but us. The ones that call themselves Jews, when they got scattered around, they went willingly. We went in captivity. There's a big difference. If they didn't take a train and they took a boat, they was sitting on top of the boat. Where was we at? We was in the boat, at the bottom of the boat, in chains and shackles, in slavery. As a matter of fact, the Edomites owned the slave ships that we was on when we came to America. The Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. The Lord gonna bring you into bondage, captivity, and slavery again by ships. And that's how we got to America. Because we wouldn't obey the true and living God. We wouldn't keep his laws. We want to do what we wanted to do. And we got kicked out of our land. Now somebody over there claiming they us. We got the world believing it. But the Bible says that when the Lord gathered his people a second time, there will be peace in the land. But they constantly killing each other, them and the Palestinians, them and the Arabs, killing each other on a daily basis. That is not peace in the land. So they are not the true Jews. It's just that simple. Grace and peace multiply to you in the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Most High God, the Savior, to those that keep his commandments.